And stretch away he does, and he's done it!
Gout Gout is only 17, and yet he's already putting the entire sprinting world on high alert. At the 2025 Australian National Championships in Perth, the young phenom exploded onto the track in a way that left jaws on the floor. It was electric, raw, and borderline ridiculous. In the junior men's 100 meters, the buildup was real. Everyone knew he had speed, but nobody expected what came next. From the gun, Gout looked like he was fired out of a cannon. His start was one of the best we've ever seen from him. Head down, perfect drive phase, every step locked in. And even though he coasted the final 20 meters to save energy, the time flashed across the screen. 9.99 seconds. Sub 10 from a 17-year-old. That alone would be enough to make headlines. But there was one little issue: the wind. At plus 3.5 meters per second, the tailwind was well over the legal limit of plus 2.0, making the performance ineligible for official record purposes. But let's not get it twisted. The clock doesn't lie. Legal or not, Gout ran 9.99, and he did it effortlessly. That alone puts him in an elite class. In fact, only 15 junior sprinters in history have ever clocked sub 10 times under any conditions. He didn't just break a barrier, he forced everyone to realize they were watching something generational. And the craziest part, that wasn't even the final. Later that same day, Gout lined up for the 100-meter final, and fans were hopeful lightning might strike twice. But this time, legally. The anticipation was thick, but unlike earlier, Gout didn't explode out of the blocks. His start was sluggish. The first 10 meters weren't clean, and for a brief second, it looked like this race might slip away. But Gout doesn't fold. He flipped the switch mid-race and shifted into another gear, roaring through the final 50 meters with that trademark closing speed. The result? Another 9.99? Yes, again. But once more, the wind had other plans. This time clocking in at plus 2.6 meters per second. Still illegal, but so close. And somehow, both of Gout's races that day were the only sprints with wind over the legal limit. Everything else, perfect conditions. That's either awful luck or the universe having a laugh. Now let's talk wind adjustments. Analysts who ran the math say that if his semi-run had occurred with a plus 2.0 meters per second wind, it would have translated to a 10.03. With no wind, closer to 10.11. The final was a slightly better run under the circumstances, adjusted to around 10.01 with legal wind and 10.09 with none. That's consistency. That's range. And when you factor in his build, taller than most juniors, it makes sense that wind has a bigger impact on his performances. But none of that changes what we saw. He ran 9.99 twice in a single day. He did it with one good start and one bad start. That kind of versatility isn't normal, and that kind of speed, especially at 17, is straight up scary. But here's what takes it to another level. The 100 meters isn't even Gout's best event. This kid is a 200-meter monster. He already owns the Australian national record in the 200, and he set it when he was only 16. Running a wine-legal 20.04. That's absurd, that's elite, that's Bolt territory. And now, with the kind of 100-meter form we're seeing, his 200-meter could be about to get insane. He's scheduled to run it again just a few days after the 100, and this time he's got 3 full days of rest. 3 days to recover, 3 days to sharpen, 3 days to prepare for what could be the most important race of his season. It's a setup that almost feels too perfect. Historically, only a handful of juniors have ever run sub-20 in the 200 meters under any wind conditions, and only 5 have done it with a legal wind. Gout is already on the list with his 19.98, but the world wants to see him do it again. Cleaner, faster, official, and with his new explosive top-end speed, his next 200 meters could put him on a whole different level. The potential is off the charts. If he connects his drive phase, pushes the curve, and maintains form down the straightaway, it's game over. He's got the legs, he's got the lungs. All that's left is the wind, and that small window of perfection that only the greats seem to find when the moment is right. The question on everyone's mind now isn't if Gout Gout will run sub-10 legally, it's when. And after what he did in the 100, all eyes shifted to that next big event, the 200 meters. After 3 full days of rest and recovery, Gout returned to the track at the Australian National Championships for what was billed as the biggest test of his season. With the weight of anticipation and a personal goal in mind, he lined up in his lane with one mission: to go under 20 seconds with a legal win and etch his name even deeper into history. The atmosphere was electric. Everyone knew something big was coming. From the gun, he exploded out with purpose. He attacked the curve harder than we'd ever seen, showing complete control of his body and incredible balance through the turn. Then, as he hit the home straight, that familiar gear change kicked in. Gout extended his lead with every step. No tightness, no fatigue, just smooth, clean sprinting from a kid who looked like he was built for this moment. And when he crossed the line, the clock confirmed it. 19.91 seconds. Legal win, official, historic. It was the second fastest time ever run by a junior under legal conditions, placing him right behind legends like Usain Bolt and Ariane Knighton. This wasn't just a personal best. It was a warning shot to the rest of the world. Gout had just delivered on every bit of hype, and he did it with so much ease, it almost looked too comfortable. That's what makes him dangerous. He doesn't look like he's straining. He doesn't look like he's maxing out. His technique is so relaxed that you forget he's running times that grown men in their prime can't even touch. And he's still got 2 more years in the junior ranks. What's even more terrifying for his future competitors is how strategic he's becoming. In interviews after the race, Gout talked about his focus on race planning, timing the phases, building his endurance, studying how to execute perfectly in both the 100 and the 200. This isn't some wild, untamed talent hoping to hang with the elite. This is a calculated, well-coached phenom who's already learning how to dominate. And when you add that to his natural gift, height, stride length, finishing speed, it's almost unfair. And it's not just the 100 and 200 where Gout's making noise. He's been dipping his toes into the 400-meter territory, slowly but surely testing his limits in longer races. Earlier this season, he posted solid times in the low 45-second range, which might not sound elite just yet. But for a 17-year-old who's clearly more geared toward the shorter sprints, that's wild. That shows versatility. That shows stamina. And more importantly, it opens the door for triple threats at future championship meets. 100, 200, and even the 4x400 relay. Don't be surprised if Gout ends up anchoring that squad too. For Australian athletics, Gout Gout is already a once-in-a-generation talent. But internationally, he's starting to be recognized as a legitimate contender on the world stage. When he lines up at the World U20 Championships or even the Diamond League meets he's planning to attend later this year, he won't just be another name on the heat sheet. He'll be the one everyone's watching, the one everyone's trying to beat, and the one most likely to run away from them all. It's still early in the season, and we know how unpredictable track and field can be. Injuries, burnout, pressure, it's a long road. But Gout seems to have something else that sets him apart, a grounded mindset. After his big wins, he's always quick to credit his coaches, his family, his teammates. There's no ego, no flashy arrogance, just a kid who loves to run and wants to be better every time he steps on the track. That humility, paired with his freakish talent, is why people believe he's going to change the game. He's not just running for fast times. He's building something, a legacy. And it's starting to look like that legacy is going to stretch far beyond Australia. The international stage is calling, and Gout Gout looks ready to answer. So now the only question is, how much faster can he go? With the rest of the season still to come, more Diamond League races on the calendar, and major global competitions around the corner, the world is watching. And they're not just watching because he's fast. They're watching because every time he runs, it feels like something historic might happen. That's the Gout Gout effect.